Have you gotten your hands on any of these tiny, adorable A2 size paper pads from scrapbook.com and we're hoping for some ideas? Hi, I'm Jess from jesscrafts.com and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So today we have our first A2 paper busting template. It's super simple, but we got to start busting through these because scrapbook.com is only coming out with more and more cute ones. Let's go to the table and get making. I resisted making paper busting templates for A2 size papers for a while. I've had them, scrapbook.com released them a while ago. They are super cute and tiny, love them. But I was like, well, I'm doing 12 by 12, 8 by 8, 6 by 8, 6 by 6, so many different paper sizes. Should I add another one? But I love pattern papers, so I did it. And here we are. Somebody asked about them too. And I was like, that was the sign that I need to do it. And my first idea is really, really simple, but that's okay because we got to start with our simple ideas. We should write down those, record those simple ideas because they're great ones to come back to. And this sketch is perfect for when you have a more like interesting die cut or colored image or something like that, or you just need to make a bunch of cards fast. So I have these 3 collections from scrapbook.com and I'm just going to pick a sheet from each of them. I did pick this striped sheet from Noel because it's not explicitly Christmas. And then in the spooky collection, there is a like plaid piece. So I can use that and not be as Halloween-y. You could of course just use like all of them from Joyful because I am going to be using Joyful as my cardstock mats. But I just wanted to, since I'm starting to use my pattern collections, use a little bit from each one. And so what the sketch tells you to do is to cut these in half. So they are 4 1/4 inch wide. We're going to keep that. And they're 5 1/2 tall. Half of 5 1/2 is 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut these to 2 3/4. Then I'm going to need to cut some cardstock mats. I am going to go to my A2 size pattern or coordinating cardstock to cut them. You could cut them with 8 1/2 by 11 and you would create a little bit less waste because when I cut my cardstock panels, the mat needs to be 4 1/4 across by 3 inches tall. If I cut that out of an A2 size piece of paper, I'm going to be left with a 2 1/2 inch strip at the top that I cannot use for my second mat. However, I do have a idea for using the center of the mat. So in this instance, I do want my 3 inch mat because I'm going to make really good use of it. But I could understand if instead you might want to cut like little strips of cardstock and then you could glue it to, choose one with more of a contrast, glue it to the top and the bottom instead. And that would be a way to save a lot of cardstock. But like I said, I have the idea for specifically what I want to do. And so therefore I will be cutting them to the 3 inches. I have my 3 inch mats and my 2 1/2 by 4 1/4 that I can save. I do put all of my paper pads in bags. So these are the same bags that I use for my stamps and they happen to fit an A2 size paper pad, but you could also use like quart size zip top bags. And then that way, any scraps that I do have can get put right back in the bag and held onto. I don't make a lot of scraps, as you know, like my whole thing is these paper busting templates that don't make scraps, but with those cardstock pads in particular, I do find myself accumulating scraps over time. And so then I can glue this on top, but since I have such a large chunk of paper here, I want to take advantage of it. So I have the scrapbook.com Hello Hi Friend word dies, and it has this set that cuts hello, but it's 3 layers, which is really cool because like it adds a lot of interest to the card. And since this is kind of a simple card sketch, I want to do something that's pretty interesting on the card. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to, probably need a little bit bigger of a piece of mint tape, tape it down here and die cut all 3 of them. Because if I die cut all 3 layers out of 3 different colors of cardstock, then I can mix it all up and create 3 sentiments for 3 cards. So each one of the different pattern papers will get a slightly different version. And then I can also cut more quickly instead of having to cut just, one of these out of each one. By making a set of cards, I'm going to be saving some time by die cutting a bunch of sentiments at once. So now I take my pattern paper and I cover up where I die cut all of those sentiments. Then I can add some more adhesive to the back. And I don't have to feel guilty at all about that, big old chunk of cardstock that's hidden because I've already repurposed it a little bit. And then line it up. I'm gonna put it just generally on the bottom half of my card, but you can kind of adjust this to, like, if you wanna have it on the top for some reason or something like that, but I think the bottom half generally works. And then I'm ready to assemble my sentiments. So I put them all here in my scrapbook.com stack and sort trays, and I need to make sure that as I stack up the sentiment, I have 3 different combinations that work. So I need to make sure each layer comes from a different color. I need to make sure I have 1 of each color in the layers. So those 3 could go together. And then finally, these 3. It should work out pretty easily if you've just cut the set of 3, but if you've been cutting a bunch, because like me, I'm making 6 cards, for instance, so I would have done this twice if I was doing it all at the same time. And then we can think about which one looks best on each pattern. So that is what I would recommend, especially if you have one that might be kind of finicky, because I do think this Noel one is a little bit less of an obvious match, because it doesn't really have yellow. It has the green and it has a red color that's kind of orangey, but it's not quite this orange. I don't like the green on the bottom here because that pattern paper is mostly green. So maybe I switch that to there. Or the orange, again, that's orange paper, which I think is kind of okay because we're going for like a very tone-on-tone thing here. But maybe I can switch that over here. It's all kind of like, the green is most prominent, I don't know. So you just kind of like fuss around till whichever one you like best when you're working on a set of these, but you do want to be picking ahead of time if you're trying to kind of mimic what I'm doing here. And if you only have 1 paper pad, you can absolutely do this too. I was just showing you a couple collections because I finally started using them, and so I wanted to use a couple collections. But if you pick all from the same collection and then all your cardstock is from the same collection, everything's gonna coordinate pretty easily. You're not really gonna have to make any difficult choices. Also, when you go to glue it together, I love that scrapbook.com in the back has shown you what the final product looks like, because I would probably struggle a little bit. Like I'd have to probably do like a test case and might do it wrong the first time, but they're trying to save you any trouble. And then a lot of times what I've done in the past too is with the die, like sometimes I'll glue one together as an example and I'll leave it in the like packaging with the die so that the next time I use it I know what it's supposed to look like, but they have saved me from having to do that. This one, I mean, it's just a sentiment, so it's not overly complicated, but like when you get those dies that all come together and make like a cute critter or something like that, it's especially important, and they've started including it on all of them. So then I can also see I really should be lining up this layer with the corner of the layer ahead of it, which I may have accidentally centered it if I didn't have that reference photo. So now I'm ready to add those sentiments to my card. And I did want to take a quick second to share that I did start YouTube memberships, which means that you can click the join button down there, and it would be very similar to joining on Patreon. So don't join both, but for those of you who, for whatever reason, Patreon wasn't a good platform for you, I wanted to have some other options, and or to have another option. And so you get all the same benefits that a patron gets. It's just hosted on the YouTube platform. So you get like some of my templates are available for free, like they can, well, sorry, all my templates are free by individual download, but you can get like groups of templates. You'll get some for signing up, or you'll get 50% off the Etsy shop. So if you do want to buy groups of templates, then you get like a really generous discount. So they're very, very inexpensive to grab those packs if that's helpful. You get like sneak peeks, you get early access to the templates at some of the levels. And then YouTube provides some unique things like little emojis that you can use, I think, and little like symbols that you get next to your name when you leave comments on my videos. So it's just something to check out if anyone was kind of interested but didn't really wasn't familiar with the Patreon platform. It was just another option to offer to you guys. So those are the 3 cards, and then I'll just repeat the process and make 3 more. And I hope you've enjoyed this very simple idea to get started cutting up those A2 paper pads that you maybe have gotten as part of bundles or you're going to pick up today as a freebie. If you like this video, here's another video where you can find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links. See you in the next video.